Great to have you joining me this morning. And today we're looking at kind of a fun question, which is what does heaven smell like? And that idea, maybe we can even rephrase it a little bit. What is a heavenly smell? And it's an interesting part here we're looking at in terms of biblical commentary that's so much part of the canon of New Church theology. And it's this idea that we read these stories of like Noah and the Ark, which is what we've been looking at for months now, and we can just keep on like ruminating on them a little bit, considering them, allowing them to change our life, allowing them to create a way for us to think about things. And today we're looking at this beautiful line. So the ark has come to rest, animals are out. Noah decides to build an altar and offer a burnt sacrifice to the Lord. And there's this beautiful line in the Bible. This is from Genesis 8, verse 23. And Jehovah, which is another word for God, and Jehovah smelled a restful smell. And I love that idea, right? Like, what was the smell of this sacrifice? It was this smell that was this very restful smell. That idea that God smelled the rest at this moment. And then I think we both can look at that in terms of God, and we can look at that in terms of ourselves. And it is kind of interesting to think, folks, what is that restful smell? What is that part of us that just when the flood's over and we can just have a moment, what does that time smell like? We can talk a lot about what it feels like. What does it smell like? And here's a line for you to consider. Again, it's something to consider, something to think about. A restful smell is a peaceful smell, or in other words, the pleasing quality of peace. Peace unfolds, is a beautiful line. Peace unfolds in a single embrace each and every facet of the Lord's kingdom, because the state of the Lord's kingdom is a state of peace. Boy, that is just a beautiful idea that God kind of wraps his arms around the whole thing, and that it's this deep feeling of peace that envelops us. I think about it this way, folks. Imagine for many of you, you had a favorite vacation spot in the summer. And I know I certainly did, and I can still like catch little glimpses of that smell sometimes. And anytime I smell it, it just instantly brings me a sense of peace. My family had a house down at the shore, as many families in the Philadelphia area do. And even though I grew up in Pittsburgh, but anyways, my would travel out from Pittsburgh to the shore property, and there'd be this smell of the ocean. It was like this instant, like, oh, we're getting closer. I can remember going over the bridge to the property and like, oh, there's that beautiful smell. And and I just think that is so much the way it works, and it's this sense of peace. Now that both can work in terms of like a literal smell as well as a metaphorical smell. I know my mom, for example, many times told me a story about how she fell in love with my dad. My mom had been married before, and it was a second marriage later on in life. And a couple of times we had conversations about, well, just how did you know, Mom? Like, how did you know you'd been through one marriage and now you're into another one? How did you know? And she said, "Oh, it just felt natural. It just felt calm." I think that's the smell of peace too, right? It's like we know it just because there's a sense of peace around it. And maybe that's just a little bit of a thing to have welcomed into your life today. So we all have decisions and things we got to think about and things we wrestle with. And sometimes those decisions, right? We make them out of an angstiness. It's probably not a word, but an anxiousness, and the decisions can feel rushed, and they can feel tenuous. They can feel a flutter, and sometimes we will have to make decisions like that. I mean, sometimes there's decisions we have to make from that particular place because there's a time urgency stamp on them. And yet, the real core of life's decisions are those decisions we can make where when we make them, we just feel a sense of peace. It's just like, oh, yeah, I can feel the peace there. I can feel that this is the right decision. I think that's a super high level of intuition when we can start to experience that. So today, thinking about a takeaway, think about that sense of peace. Like, where have you sensed that? Where have you, quote unquote, smelled that? And remember, that's the smell of heaven. That's actually the core of heaven is this whole state of peace. I mean, that's the bedrock. Bedrock of love, obviously, but when you're really coming from this deeply unconditional loving part, of course, there's going to be this sense of unconditional peace. It's just peaceful, just that simple. And I would ask us all like to think about this. What are the decisions in your life you might have today? And there might be big ones, they might be small ones. I think most of us have a longer term decision or decisions we are wrestling with. And that's part of the human condition too. And maybe even with those longer term ones, just try to get in touch with what is the sense of peace embedded within that, and which decision per se, not from a frenetic like got to decide in the next 5 minutes thing, but in the longer term view, which is the decision path that you could see really leading to a lot of peace. And doesn't mean that it'll be an easy decision in the short term. I think often those decisions that lead to the greatest amount of peace in the long term are actually pretty challenging. The decision to get a broken bone reset is not pleasant in the short term, but it sure will bring peace in the long term. However you might hold that, just welcome that sense of peace into your life. Think about it as this beautiful smell, very, very pleasing to God and very pleasing to your soul as well. So that's my thought for today, folks. And what we're going to shift gears into now is we're going to shift gears into doing a little blessing, a little prayer, um, a little meditation, and then we'll say hi to folks on social media. So to get us started, what I'm going to ask us to do is to just take a breath here, and after we take this breath, we're just going to listen to the bell ring, and just enjoy the beautiful sound, and just allow it to clear our mind. So the bell. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still. Know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's give a little cheery hello to folks here on social media. And again, we leave comments at a number of places here. We leave a comments uh, on my Facebook page. I will read those, as well as New Church Live's Facebook page. And lots of folks watch these. Vast majority of people actually watch these archived. So you are more than welcome as well to just leave an archived comment, and then we'll get to those eventually too. All right. So let's go and get started. Linda, good morning to you, and I hope you're doing well. Sherry, good morning. I hope you have a great week ahead of you. Marcus, good morning. Wonderful as always to see you performing with your brother this weekend. And Sherry, join you in that, wishing everyone a wonderful, wonderful week ahead. And let's flip on over to here and pick up some other commentary here. All right. Okay, so I see you didn't stream onto my page. My bad. I'm sorry about that, folks. So anyhow, we will make sure we get that little glitch remedied. And yeah, just wishing you all the very best, folks. Like, God bless. Have an amazing, incredible, great day. Take care. Bye-bye.